Morning, 7th grade. Today what we're going to do is we are going to learn, I'm trying to remember, okay, it's the 4th. We're going to apply markup, markdowns, tips, and tax. Okay, so we're still using proportional reasoning. Sorry, trying to find out what page I'm on. And we are going to do page 33 and 34. Okay, so really we're not doing anything different. We're still working with proportional reasoning, but there's certain terminology and certain vocabulary that I want to introduce to you. Okay, all right. You can always freeze the video. I'm going to skip that page because we were working on that. All right, so on the left side, what I want you to do, let's see if I can make that smaller. Nope. All right, I want you to draw a straight line. If you don't think you can draw a straight line, then go ahead. And I want just about right here. And I want to talk about, remember when we were doing the modeling of percentages. Remember that a whole is always 0 to 100%. Okay? And then this would be your whole, and this would be your part, or whatever, and this would be your ratio here and a ratio here. Now, we'll do some examples in just a minute, but when you have, for example, some vocabulary here, if we have a mark up, what that means is that a business, let's say, they buy a product for $10, but they sell it for $15. Okay, so it's $5 above what their cost is, and so that's a markup. So businesses commonly mark up so they can make a profit. Okay, the opposite of a markup is they might mark down. Okay, let's say that their product is not selling. So they want to move it so they can get their money and buy more product that will sell. Okay? So above and beyond, so this would be above 100% and this would be below 100%. Now some other words that we talk about are commission. Okay, many jobs work on a commission. And so let's say a car salesman, his livelihood, it depends on how many cars he sells, because commission, it might be a certain percentage on his sales. Okay? All right, and then you have sales tax. You also have another word for a markdown would be a discount. Okay? All right, let's put that into practice and let's talk. Oh, one more, sorry. A tip. When you go into a restaurant, a tip is added onto your meal. So let's say your bill was $20, which is 100%, right? So your bill was 20, and a normal tip would be 15%, okay, or 20%. And so you would find that amount and add on to your actual bill. So your bill would be higher than the $20. So remember that any of this vocabulary, we're always going to add on to as well. And right here, we're going to subtract. Okay? All right. What I want you to do is I want you to fold this page under. Okay? Right here. And I am not prepared. I don't have a pair of scissors. We're going to make a quick foldable. Okay, and then I want you to cut, and yes, I'm actually cutting page 34, so I'm probably need to go back and change my table of contents to page 36. And what you'll do is you'll take that sheet of paper out, okay, turn it sideways, and then just cut it right up the middle, okay, all right. So what I'm going to do, we're going to talk about mark up, and mark down. So when we're marking up, the price is going to increase. If we're going to mark down, the price will decrease. Okay? And there were some fancy words. We talked about a discount, and we talked about making a profit. Okay? All right, so let's look at some examples. Let's pretend, and I'm just going to draw exactly like a line that goes right down the middle to keep those two separate. So on a markup, let's pretend we have a pair of Air Jordans. And I'm going to show my age because I have no idea, well, I have no idea how much they're really worth, right? So don't laugh, but we're going to buy a pair of shoes, and it's going to be, the business is going to pay. Let's say it's a store down the street, and their actual cost, not the cost that you would pay, is $120. Okay? Yep, you're already chuckling. But that business is going to mark those shoes up 50%. So a lot of you are doing it in your head. You're, well, 50% of 120 is 60, so I'm going to add 60 to the 120. Some of you are doing that, but what we're going to do is we're going to use the tic-tac-toe strategy, and because sometimes those numbers are not as easy as this 50%. So go ahead and draw your tic-tac-toe board. And remember that the tic-tac-toe becomes the foursquare as you become very, very proficient, and you just end up creating a proportion where two ratios are equal. And you might jot down the labels, but some people get very, very good at it, and the need is not as important. All right, so we always have our new price over our old price, okay? Because remember that 100%, let's pretend we're looking for the new price. Okay, this is my percent column. We're not doing anything different. And we want to know what is the new price. Oh, that's not right. Hold on. Oh, my example in my book is going opposite. So my apologies. Okay, I wrote it down wrong. But let's pretend that $120, but we're going to mark it up 50%. So we are actually looking for 150%, and we're looking for X. My variable is here. And so my price, my old price, is 120, which is my cost. Okay, sorry about the confusion there. That was my fault. Remember that when we are reducing, we go vertically. I can never, ever, 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 ever reduce diagonally. I can only reduce vertically or horizontally. So I can do a 0 for a 0, which is dividing both numbers by 10. So now I have two zeros here. I'm going to divide 10 by 10, which gives me 1, 120 by 10, which gives me 12. Now my 1 is directly across from my x, so I multiply, cross multiply, 15 times 12 is equal to 1 times x, and I don't have to show that 1, so my x is equal to, and I'm going to go over and do my scratch. So 15 times 12, I'll go quick, 2 times 5 is 10, carry your 1, 3, I bring down a 0, 1 and 5, so my new cost is $180. Okay, now how much was the markup? So if we are looking only for the markup, I would only put 50% here, wouldn't I? And my answer would have been 60. Okay, but I'm wanting the final price, so I'm going to do 150%. Okay, we'll get used to that. I know it's tricky for some of you. All right, let's pretend that we are marking down a product. Okay, so the shoes, Air Jordans, I'm sorry, it's an old brand. Actually, the older ones sell better, but I have a pair of Air Jordans that are not selling. Okay, I own a business, and they're marked at $120. So what I'm going to do, I want to move them. I need to get them up because they're not making me any money by just sitting. People don't like the pair of shoes, so I need to kind of discount them. So I'm going to offer a markdown of 60%. Okay? All right, so let's do our tic-tac-toe. I wish I had a stamp, a tic-tac-toe stamp. They're probably out there too. All right, I always have my new price and my old price. Okay? When you're working with percents, it's always 100. Okay? Now remember, if this is 100%, okay, and if I take off 60%, I'm going to subtract the 60%. I could find 60, right? And then subtract it. Or what if I just find 40% of my actual price and it's finding the opposite? Okay, think about that. All right, so my new price is actually going to be 40% of the original product because I'm taking off 60. Because the 60 and 40, they have to add up to 100. Now, if you find 60, you simply subtract it from the 120. But we're not going to do that because it's one extra step, right? So I'm looking for my new price. My old price was 120. That's that high price. And now we're just doing the tic-tac-toe. You can, a 0 for a 0, divide both numbers by 10. Now I'm going to look vertically, and I have 2 more zeros. That's right, I can cross multiply. So 1x is equal to 4 times 12 is equal to $48. Now, so when I mark down, okay, more people are going to buy it, and that's why businesses do it. Okay, usually when something's been sitting in their store too long. All right. So what I want to talk about is the same thing on this application that you're going to do. We're talking about a sales price and a discount. Okay, so they give you these items and they're showing you that strip diagram. So when you're talking about a sale or a discount, okay, you are going to end up subtracting it from the original. A commission would be above, and if you notice right here, this is his 100%, and it's going to be above and beyond. Okay, and I tell you what, I'm going to make a separate video, so look for it because I'm going to do one of those for you, and then you're going to do the bottom one. Okay?